which we sometimes can only follow. We can just, yeah. So we have to live what we have. Should not grow desperate. Prabhupada was sitting in New York alone. And there was no sign somebody coming except few really insane hippies. Well, you can grow desperate. Old, facing death, no result. Prabhupada, I really like that incident when Mukunda Maharaj describes how he arranged a program for Prabhupada in San Francisco. Swamiji is coming. And there were many Swamijis those days actually coming. There were all kinds of Swamijis. So, there were so many Swamijis coming. But they arranged program for Prabhupada. They end up sitting in a small room with a bunch of completely intoxicated hippies who have practically sex there in front of Prabhupada. And they didn't stop. When he came in, Prabhupada sat down and he started, "Ladies and gentlemen," no one gave a completely standard lecture, completely ignoring the audience. And then he got up and they walked out. And Mukunda was so devastated. He said, "My God, how did we get Prabhupada into this situation?" So they walked the streets of San Francisco and there was these hippies lying everywhere, completely intoxicated. Mega Copenhagen, just completely gone in Tamagun. And then Mukunda just looked slowly at Prabhupada. Prabhupada had a big smile on his face. He said, "Prabhupada, this was a terrible program, isn't it?" Prabhupada said, "It's very beautiful here." It was so, completely illogical. And then suddenly Mukunda understood that Prabhupada is just completely in ecstasy because he's doing the right thing, finally serving the mission of the spiritual master, being entirely situated in Krishna consciousness. And he was in bliss. So one has to be satisfied with that sometimes. One cannot always seek the applause of the audience. That's actually not our principle at all. Prabhupada said, we are serving Krishna. And whoever joins in, very nice. Whoever doesn't, sorry. What can we do? And of course, devotees always struggling to attract people to Krishna consciousness, naturally. But one has to be also discriminative and one has to be also realistic. Yes, we do what we can. What else we can do? Otherwise, when we grow into some desperate people walking around, oh, they're not coming, oh. It's not difficult to find something missing or something wrong or something, it's not difficult. This ocean of this lunacy and mistakes around us. But when one focuses on the essential and just keeps on going, that may attract some people. When we just walk around desperate, who can be attracted by that? Oh no! What happened? Yeah, they think, my God, it's just a bunch of desperate people here. It's not needed. We don't have to do that. That's called detachment. Detachment doesn't mean negligence. That's sometimes very wrongly interpreted. I am detached. No, you are negligent, not detached. So when one does things reasonably and tries to improve things, of course, but one doesn't get the applause of the public for that. What can we do? We can be careful so we don't block the way of those who want to come and reasonably serve Krishna. You listen more and more, you really listen carefully to Prabhupada. He was restrictive. He was not, everybody come. That's what Swami used to rage over that statement, that Prabhupada built a house where everybody can live. He said, where did he say that? There's not one statement. This was said by some sentimental Baba down in Navadvip Ferry. There in Navadvip, who just want to glorify Prabhupada, great. But then it was quoted everywhere. And no. Prabhupada built a house where everybody could live, if he is qualified. There's rules, there's house rules. There's house rules. And then Prabhupada, I just read the letter yesterday, he said, we can invite everybody, but we have to be restricted. We have to set rules. What is possible, what is not possible. Otherwise, the whole thing will be ruined. Because the completely natural attitude of the conditioned soul to take something good and pervert it. Whatever you see in terms of good or positive in a material world, it's always perverted. People have ideals, especially when they are young, yeah. Mention Mr. Obama, when he entered the office, he was like, yes, change, we can change. Now you see this really tormented face, tense, more grey hair, very fast, completely grey hair, and tense, because he sees his ideals being compromised, and he's still trying to pacify himself with this, well, at least something we can change. But he's more and more realizing it's not going to be much. Because the whole force and the whole mechanism he entered is already perverted. You cannot just enter a tank and try to preach peace. Well, you are sitting in a tank. That's how it's arranged. It will shoot. You go, peace, peace. Yeah, but you're sitting in a tank. It's a very gross example. So you entered already a perverted situation. And this is what we are trying to avoid in Krishna consciousness. That's the loophole Prabhupada gave us. That actually we don't have to, join the perversion. No, we can have something simple and pure. And the more simple and the more pure you go, the less big it will be. It would be nice if it's big. We want to have this big. But Prabhupada even defined Gaudiya Math. He said there was Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj and there was an intimate circle of disciples. He describes that. And then there was all the other people who came and chanted and benefited from that. So it is not everybody is same, not at all. It's not in the Shastra and it's not why Prabhupada said, no. So those actually, of course, devotees want to belong to the inner circle. And that's, why not? Anybody can. The chance is there for everybody. But the qualification is to be there. So one cannot just designate people, okay, everybody. Then problem. And it's always the tendency to tear things apart, to degrade them. Always. Because always the conditioned soul tries to adjust things to its own needs. And that's a kind of interesting thing when you go into the congregational fields, where the grihasthas survive and people in various locations and this. They actually strive for the opposite direction, because they feel so entangled. I remember the first program I had in Germany was a Russian family, well established. They were obviously not so poor. So they had a huge house. This house times 2 for one family. Double as big as this. Brand new build. And they were just, and I realized, what have we done? We built such a big house. What are we going to do with it? And they have 2 children, okay, but just big. So they discovered what the best way is to invite other Russians and sit here and have a big programs. That's how we can use the house. And I told them, well, that's what Prabhupada called a temple. A location where people gather together and cultivate Krishna consciousness. Not some big dome with a golden chakra on it. Okay, that's wonderful, but the purpose is to be there. These buildings have to have their purposes. And this is a funny thing how these people discover on their own. They put themselves in a situation where they find out, this has no purpose. What have I done? This is actually useless. I struggle so hard. What am I going to do with it? Yeah? And they do have so many material desires. And they do have so many material ideas. But they are eager to regulate them. They sense, this is not going to do good to me. As Prahlad Maharaj says here, I am starting really wasting my time. And they sense that. On their own, they come with that realization. And then it's of course nice. Then you can start to preach. Then you can start actually, says, yes, you are right. It's so nice to preach when you just confirm already people's suspicion. Not that you have to drill and pound. You suffer. No, I'm enjoying it. I'm fine. And what can you preach? Nothing. Be fine. What can I do? Prabhupada actually said it once, said, yes, you can go to hell, my blessing. I bless you. If somebody is so stupid, what can you do? And that's the majority. But when already there's suspicion, then it's much more easy to do things. There's a desire, there's suspicion and desire to strike, then it's easy. You don't have to struggle with that. And that's actually our purpose. Not to drill against the stupidity all the time. No, we can just offer, take it. Yes? No? Okay. It's like Sankirtan. Offer a book. No? Okay. Maybe next time. You go to the next one. You don't drill on me. No, not needed. And actually not possible. So these kind of information, which are extremely practical, this has nothing to do actually with philosophy. This is just a account of life, days which are passing by. Everybody can experience that. Anybody was young, everybody was growing up, sporting, playing, and then life goes. And always people come, those who are more intelligent to a point. What have I done? Actually, I wasted my life. Good. That's exactly the point we can start to talk. Before people come to that point, we just offer avyara sukriti. We just, here prasadam here, chanting here. Please, great. No, you don't want it? Fine, bye-bye. There's no need to struggle beyond that point or grow desperate. Okay, yeah?
Well, I was just in this Allerød once gymnasium and college, and there was this nice old teacher. He was like 65, just going to retire. And so he just came along this program and with his 60 students, and then he asked if he should drive me home afterwards. And he lives just here nearby. So he visited us in Hillerød with some other classes. And then when he was here this year, somehow they gave a donation, and they got 5 books, and he gave his students these 5 books who wanted to make a report or some more about us in the school. And he told them that it's obligatory to read 30 pages literature when you submit a report. So you should read the first 30 pages in Life After Beyond Birth and Death. So some of these students had done that, and they had so many questions afterwards. And this teacher who drove me home, he said, now I'm retired, now I really want to get into this more. I want to come to the temple with his family. So it's like 30 years ago we didn't have this kind of people.
This is the inspirational thing when you go into the congregational field. You see Krishna Bhavusam being quite widely planted out there. What happens to that, that's another thing. It's always the voluntary part, take it or leave it, but it's there. It's really planted into that. Nobody will get Krishna consciousness anymore out of the society. It's really there. The question is, what do you want to do with this? And usually the more economically advanced the countries are, the worse it gets. Of course. Because they feel so confident. Yes. I have my money, what's the problem? I have my money, what's the problem? So, there are people who actually do have money, some amount, and they feel still automatically compelled to share it with others, give it in Krishna consciousness. That's very pious. Usually just Indians and Russians, they do that. Because it's already implemented in the culture. I know, like Lord Chan in Sweden, he told me he's regularly going to Russia because his wife is Russian, and they go to these really small places. Their parents live in some village, I don't know what. And he said, it's so heartwarming to see how with these people, they have nothing. They're just a patch of land, they grow some carrot. But the guest is coming, they will immediately go. go to the field, rip out the last carrot and offer it to you immediately. On the basis of such an attitude, of course you can preach. They have no idea what it is to travel to Russian congregation and prevent these people to harm themselves while serving you. One has to make almost a, conscious attempt. And I have a really hard time with that because they kill themselves to serve you. They will empty out the whole apartment and sleep in a forest so you can just stay overnight. They will do that. And then part of that culture also is they really enjoy the presence of another one. They really enjoy that. Which in a material sense results in prajalpa, and this and that. But they really enjoy that. They come to the lecture not for the lecture just. They enjoy the presence of that person. And they enjoy the presence of each other. You don't come, in an apartment, you have 20 Russians sitting inside, and it's silent, and they just chant and wait until you start the lecture. They already have their own lecture. And they just go, incidents you can only imagine in Denmark. Did it ever happen to you in Denmark that suddenly, now, today in the morning, a truck pass by, big truck, and there's a guy sitting inside with neck beads and a bead bag. You never saw him before. You don't know where he comes from. And he parks a big truck, blocks the whole entrance there and goes to the lecture. And I asked him, what is this big truck in front of the door? I cannot park anywhere. They said, well, we don't know. This guy came from nowhere. But he's already chanting since 2 years. We asked him, where did you got this? How did you start? Who preached to you? He said, nobody. I met a guy on the street and I took a guy who was hitchhiking. He was chanting. And he gave me some book and I read the book and I started to chant too. And he had a whole little altar in a truck and he just drove around. And then, and then immediately he was going, oh, that's great. He said, what is your job? Well, I'm driving between Ukraine and Germany. Well, it's very nice. Then you can bring Russian books because you have a whole truck. We are struggling to bring the books to Germany. And he said, yeah, of course. I have so much space in the truck. And that's how it works, It's just, shh. It's just you just use what's coming in front of your nose. Yeah. So, that's just an example. So we should not be sad it's not happening in Denmark. You don't have a Danish truck driver in front of the door who has an altar in a truck. So what? We do what we can. And you can see what a humor Krishna has.
But we have this bus driver, this Jay who comes and
watches
everything.
That's just a typical example. Where he came from. And it's exactly the right man for the right service. It's exactly what we need right now. And he is in it. And he never did this even before. So, but there was already enough Krishna consciousness cultivated, through the others. So he's just taking a chance. What a help it is. And actually that's how Krishna consciousness works. Krishna just sends people. We aren't creating really much. We just should not stand in a way and mess it up. That's an important program. Not to stand in a way. Therefore I'm strongly against this, demand of authority in the name of senior Vaishnavism and all this. Having old fools standing in the way, blocking the way for the young ones. I say it very boldly. I'm senior Vaishnava. Just get out of the way. There's a young one here. He wants to preach. Help him. Help him. Because the only definition for senior is that he is in the service of the younger ones. That's senior. It's like a teacher. You see, the teacher stands in front. He is the leader, he is senior. No, he's actually the servant of the students. He's transmitting them knowledge so they can do even things better as he can. Actually, it's a bliss for every bona fide teacher when he finds out he's doing even better as I do. Not that he stands there, I'm a director, you know. What do you know? What do you do? So this is what I was trying to demolish when I tell her, I'm just, don't, senior what? They ask me, the temple, as soon as I come to the temple, they ask me, how can we improve the transcendental atmosphere in a temple? Well, being trained in Copenhagen, I go, okay, I can give you a list with 20 points how to improve this atmosphere here immediately after being here for 5 minutes. They go, really? Can you do that? I said, yes. First, you get a new lid on a toilet. That water pipe is broken. This water sink is stuck. So where you go? And they go, that's not very transcendental. Can you tell us something? How can we uplift our consciousness? Yeah, change the lid on the toilet. It's going to be very conscious uplifting. Please. They go, oh. And I said, you know what? I can change it for you. I made a deal with the Munich temple. Next time you invite me, you put a list of repairs here. There's a, the temple president is a 72 years old lady. So she was in bliss. Hey, can you come again? I will prepare the list. Because she cannot do that. I mean, she's 70 years old, but she's really one of these Germans, powering around. But she said, great. She said to me, there's a frame around the window outside. I can't have a decoration over the windows. It got loose. It fell down in the garden. Can you fix it? I said, yeah. He said, next time I come around, I have a toolbox. I have a toolbox in the car. I will give a lecture that I can do also. Then I will fix the toilet. Yeah. Oh. What's the problem? It's all basically, Prabhupada said, the same thing. It's devotional service. Let's forget all this seniority crap and all this. Let's be practical. We want to improve things so people can come and can listen. It starts with the lecture and ends up with fixing the toilet. So what? Yeah.
No, there was this IoT, Dasamatan IoT from the German farm. Yeah. She was writing to me, Manidhara Prabhu is here on the farm and like this, and he's saying this in Denmark, and what is he doing there in the temple, and I dare not to write. He's giving lectures, the programs, but he is also bringing out our garbage and fixing our...
You can send her the job list, it's on a board there. I don't see any problem with this. What's the big deal? Besides that, all our brahmanas basically is gonna are sick. You know what? They don't do anything physical. In the Vedic times, brahmana was walking long distances. And that kept him together, also physically. Besides that, he was living a very healthy lifestyle in this, Our brahmanas are either on airplanes, behind the laptop, or eating maha, whatever. Actually, they cannot eat maha anymore. Because it's just one big hospital out there. And I'm wondering why. Of course, it's not funny to accept disciples and all this. This is really health damaging. Definitely. But why? Because sometimes some physical work would be not so good, not so bad. I know Brahmana is not supposed to hammer around and do things, but, even, of course, traveling is really killing people. That's a killer.
What is the killer?
Traveling, just traveling. That kills everything. Different time zones, different climate, different things. The body just rocks around. Sooner or later, everybody gets it. Yeah, but then maybe there should be some program. The Brahmana should, maybe do some, I don't know what, something. Because you have the body, and when you get older, everybody has the same problem. If you don't exercise, don't move the body around, it starts to automatically fall apart. Even faster as normal. They were walking and all this, and the movement just can't, because it doesn't, Prabhupada did it. He did every morning, he can walk. And not because he loved it to walk around and check out the city, because he had to walk. He said, if I don't walk, everything gets jammed. Everything stops. And then there is a state where the invalidity comes automatically. You cannot even walk then usually one goes quickly down. So, movement. When you are young, you don't have to schedule movement. You are passionate, you run around automatically. When you are older, you have to schedule the whole thing. You have to say, okay, now we have some physical thing. We have to do something here. So do something, why not? I'm supposed to go to the gym here. I was there twice. It's just a terrible place. Hanging on some machine, making some exercise. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, all right, it's good. But today we are going to drag some garbage that I find considered more productive. Some movement. Why not? What is the big disgrace in this? Not in Krishna, there is no disgrace. There's no such a thing like disgrace. I'm happy I can even do that. Maybe 5 years from now I cannot even do this. Who knows what? I don't know what happens. I had Godar is coming in Simhacharam to me and going, oh, what are you doing? You grew so big and you're still moving quite okay. Because everybody is just pushing himself around like really aim about it. I can give practical examples. I mean, how and there's God brothers or preachers who have such a damaged bodies already, and they push on. They just go on, push on, and actually it gives them strength. But they are sometimes coming in a periods. They have to make a special program, like for the body. It's unavoidable. If you want to use it, take care of it. So anyway, what's the big deal? But if that person you spoke to was Russian or something like this.
What did you say?
Was a Russian Mataji or what?
She is from Poland, yeah, and Dasavatai is from East Germany, and they have lived there on the German farm.
Oh, I saw Dasavatai.
Yeah, you know him, so they were here, for many years. So sometimes they meet on Facebook.
Problem is when it comes into such a festival, there's so many people coming to me, but I don't remember exactly everybody. I met so many people, so you end up on this festival going, Haribol, a bunch of people, and you go, who's that? Oh, I don't like these huge festivals because it turns to be quite impersonal actually. You are just spinning around and you cannot get more personal. But that's part of the big festival. What can you do? There was many devotees there. It's just in one sense nice. And it was reasonably managed. It was reasonably prepared, reasonably managed. Not easy to do such a thing.
Germany.
It's Germany, even there in Maya they do manage. So it was impressive really how it was done. And the rooms are reasonably maintained, they have a guest house. Yeah, of course. The old temple president was saying bye-bye exactly on Simhacharam. Retreating. Not easy to have temple president nowadays. So now it's going to be some committee. Committee always means that you have to have a big meeting how to change the toilet lid. And then you have to discuss, vote, and by the time you are finished, the whole toilet is broken. For such a details, come on, somebody has to be in charge. So things like that, but it's still better as nothing. Okay. So in managerial terms, I struggle everywhere. Preaching-wise, that's actually the beauty of congregational preaching. We don't manage anything. These people are managing themselves. They just want to hear about Krishna and they just want to become more Krishna conscious. Well, that's very pleasant. Well, that's exactly what we are here for, isn't it? Not to teach people, how to wash socks